What is up, guys? It's Haley. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I am so excited for this video. So if it's one thing, if you're not new here, you already know this. I am child-free myself. I have been sterilized, and if you've not seen that video, I'll link it right above here. I got sterilized when I was 22 years old. That was about 2 years ago, year and a half ago. We'll just say 2 years ago. And yeah, I am very passionate about advocating for elective sterilization, and I believe that any consenting adult should be allowed to get sterilized without having any repercussions or without getting denied by a doctor because the doctor does not agree with their decision. It's really hard to get sterilized, as many of you probably know that, may have attempted to get sterilized. And I myself, oh my gosh, I had a real struggle with trying to do this and putting this together, and oh my gosh. But the one thing that I can say that I think that truly helped me in getting this procedure done was putting together a sterilization binder. And in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how I put this binder together and kind of show you guys a guide that you can use if you are thinking about getting sterilized and you kind of need a little bit of a boost to help, kind of give the doctor kind of a reason to do it, because they just have some kind of an issue with it. And okay, so I say that I'm pretty sure that this binder had gotten me sterilized. And I say that because I had a coworker that I worked with, and this coworker is about 5 years older than I am, and she was married, and she went to the same exact OBGYN that I went to and asked to get sterilized. I asked to just get her tubes tied, and I just got mine removed, which I guess is a little more, not extreme, but it's a little bit extra. And yeah, she was told no. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that this binder kind of gave the end-all punch to getting this procedure done, and I am very thankful that I put this together, and I'm very thankful that I had this guide for me, and I'm very excited to show you guys this, and because I think that, like I said, I think anybody should be allowed to get sterilized if they want to, and if this is the one thing that's gonna help you, I'm gonna help you out. Alright, so I got the idea to do the sterilization binder on the Childfree Reddit site, and pretty much when I had self-discovered that that I was child-free, where I actually found and coined the term for myself, and I was 22. I was 22 actually. It was it was all within the same year, but I had known for the longest time that I didn't want kids, and so one of the things that I kept running across on this was a sterilization binder, and there's actually a link on, this is my kitty, by the way, she just wanted to say hello, her name's Dahlia. Hello. Okay, anyways, and this website has a really interesting name to it. It's no regrets, no regrets, no regret. It's just very difficult. I'm going to link it down below. But this pretty much set up a guide. There's a Build-A-Binder. There's all these success stories. There's consultation tips on here. And I pretty much used the Build-A-Binder tab on this website, and pretty much it had all of these different templates that you can use to put together your own sterilization binder. Okay, so on here they have like a table of contents, official request for procedure, consent to sterilization form, blah 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 blah, etc, etc. So I'm not going to go through all of these. Obviously you can go to the website yourself if you want to go through these and kind of pick out which ones you want, but what I'm going to do is kind of show which ones I went through with you guys. And so the actual physical copy of my sterilization binder I had given to my doctor when I was having that consultation, but I had saved all of the different sections that I had in my Google Drive, so I just have that pulled up on my phone here, and I'm just going to kind of go over each section and kind of maybe go over the subsections and kind of what I included in it. Yeah, as I mentioned, I didn't put everything that was on the sterilization binder website that I had used to get the templates, but I kind of picked and chose what I wanted to kind of put together as what I thought would be best for me and to be the most convincing in my argument. So the very first thing that I put together, and I remember this being the very first one because I wanted it to exactly state what I wanted to get done, and mine states for an official request for a bilateral salpingectomy. Now, on here I have different sections like requested procedures, reasons for sterilization, reasons for choosing this procedure over other options, and here's where I kind of talked about, I was on a pill for a while and why I don't want to go on these other types of birth control and why I don't think they would work for me. I pretty much explained here that, I'm specifically looking for a permanent solution to birth control because I don't ever want kids, so I want to get sterilized. That's why I don't want to just be on the pill. And then this last section that I think is really important that I have is this informed consent, basically stating that I'm aware that this procedure is irreversible and that I'm acknowledging that there's risk to the surgery and that, you know, blah blah blah, and should a situation occur that I were to change my mind, I could choose to adopt, foster, etc. And then this very next section that I have is a statement of consent. Now, when you get sterilized, and I think this depends on state by state, but in the state that I had my procedure in, which was in the state of Wisconsin, after my consultation, I had to sign a consent form essentially by the state of Wisconsin with all these different things laid out, and essentially like I can't go back and sue, and it's that I'm voluntarily getting myself sterilized, no one's forcing me to do this kind of a thing. So you sign that anyways, but I put together a statement of consent, again, kind of going more in depth from the informed consent from the last section, and really kind of outline that throughout the process of trying to get this procedure done, I've been counseled on the risk and implications of the surgery, and that, you know, I know that this procedure is permanent and that there's risk for it. I'm aware that, you know, if I were to change my mind, IVF might not even work for me and it would cost this so much amount of money, which, by the way, if I ever, for whatever reason, change my mind, which I never would, I just wouldn't ever want to go through pregnancy. I would choose to adopt in the end, you know, if I were to change my mind. So this, again, just kind of goes deeper into the informed consent, like, hey, I am educated on this procedure, I know the outcome of it, I know the risks associated with it, and I still want to get this done. And then I also did include the definition of patient autonomy, which I did also mention in the sterilization video, and I guess I'll just mention it again if you're new here and you haven't seen my last video, but if you haven't seen it, you should just go see it. Anyways, so a patient autonomy is the right of patients to make decisions about their medical care without their healthcare provider trying to influence the decision. Patient autonomy does allow for healthcare providers to educate the patient, but does not allow the healthcare provider to make the decision for the patient. So again, pretty much laying it out like, hey, I know about patient autonomy, you should not deny me this procedure because this is what I want to do with my body. And yeah, this I really truly did lay out when I did talk to my doctor about it, and he made a really weird remark about it and basically told me that if I were to come in and ask to get my finger like removed, that he wouldn't do that because there's not a reason for it. And so he was kind of like putting that together with this, that there's not a reason for you to get sterilized because there's other birth control options. And I'm just like, dude, I just want to get permanently sterilized. Like, I don't want to be on the pill my entire life and be hormonal and all that kind of other shit. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I want this done. Yeah, I was pretty pushy. You have to be. If you're gonna try to go and convince the doctor to sterilize you, you have to be a little bit pushy. And then the next section that I put in, this one was kind of one that, again, I think is one that would be more of an optional one if you want to or not, but I did personally want to put this one in, and it's my personal views on pregnancy, childbirth, and parenthood. So I'm kind of laying it in that the reason I don't want kids is because I don't want to go through pregnancy, I don't want to go through childbirth, and I truly don't ever want to go through parenthood because I just don't want to have kids, and the reasons why I don't want to have that done. And you know, I talked about in the section, you know, my eating disorder that I had mentioned in a previous video very briefly, but I had an eating disorder when I was 12, 13 years old, and I pretty much talked about in here that I'm worried that if I were to fall pregnant, I would revert back to old habits, you know, with a changing body, because even to this day, I still deal with a lot of like body dysmorphia, and you know, body changes really freak me out still. And then I also talked about in here, you know, wanting to have a career. You know, I went to school for environmental sciences essentially, and I really want to, you know, save the environment, and having kids is one of the worst things you can do for the environment. And I pretty much put on here that I'm a strong believer in my body, my choice, because I very much am, and pretty much laid out down here that if I ever fell pregnant, I want you to understand that abortion would be my only option. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, I would get an abortion. So you might as well just sterilize me so I don't have to go through that kind of a thing. So, and definitely that. And then I definitely talked about like the negative physical effects of pregnancy and childbirth. And I kind of copied and pasted a lot of this from the template, because this was a template that was on that website. And I kind of didn't do too many edits to a lot of that stuff because that was a lot of just research that was put together. So I just kind of borrowed that information in here, but it talks about all this really scary things, and I'm just like, yeah, why would anyone just choose to go through this? I mean, if you choose to, you know, go through pregnancy, like, good on you, but like, I don't, and yeah, looking through this, I'm just like, no, thank you. Yeah, and then also talking about like birth trauma and PTSD and postnatal depression and all that kind of things. And I'm already just a depressed person as it is. I don't need that in my life too. So yeah, just kind of talking about all the negative views that I have towards parenthood, childbirth, pregnancy, the whole hoorah and hoorah. And this very last section that I put together was basically answering your questions, and this is pretty much where I gathered any questions that if a doctor were to ask you about your reasons for wanting to have this procedure done. I pretty much laid it out here. So like the questions on here: have you considered non-permanent birth control? You know, obviously yes, I was on a pill and I wanted a permanent solution, so skip that question. Aren't you too young to make such a permanent decision? What if you change your mind later? What if your partner wants children? Why won't your partner get a vasectomy instead? Which, by the way, I absolutely hate this. Like, I hate when people ask that. And it's just like, it's his body, his choice, and if he doesn't want to get a vasectomy, he doesn't have to. And honestly, even if he did, I'd still want to be sterilized myself too. So yeah. And then last one, are you aware of the risk of a bilateral salpingectomy? And yeah. So those are all the sections of the sterilization binder that I put together, and I put it all in this little binder that I took with me to the doctor's appointment, handed it off to him as I was leaving, and got the call the next week and was approved. So yeah, I will share the link down below for the templates to the sterilization binder. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to see any of my future content, or if you want to just help me get this content out to the world. I'm a true believer, again, like I said, in expressing the child-free lifestyle, and I want to make being able to get voluntarily sterilized more accessible for everybody, especially women, because as many of you probably know, it's virtually impossible to get sterilized, especially when you're, like I was, 22 years old. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. I love you guys so much, and yeah, if you have any more questions for me, definitely leave them down below, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Bye!